Hey guys, welcome back to my off-grid cabin series. In this video, I'll show you the process of framing and sheathing my basic trapper's cabin. I did a lot of research before I bought this land. I made sure it was in a county where building codes and for tiny homes and off-grid septic systems was very lax. So that was a huge reason of why I chose this specific piece of land. In the last video, I showed you guys how to do the floors and foundation of this cabin. All right, so let's get into the video. We like to frame our walls on the floor by lining them up, making sure they're square, making sure everything is lined up on the top plates and bottom plates. It's much easier to nail it on the floor. Notice I put these little 2x4 braces on the back here to stop the wall from sliding off, and you'll see as I lift the wall up, it gives me support to screw into. It's pretty heavy to lift this by myself. I use a laser to plumb up the wall and then brace it. It's very windy, so if you don't brace it, there's a good chance the walls can fall over. And then I do the same thing on the other end. I frame the walls on the floor. I put the window header at the very top of the wall, the top plates there, and I'll show you why in a minute. This is just a basic wall layout I used. Notice I put 2 top plates on top, 1 bottom plate on the bottom. I just used all 2x4 framing and I put them 16 inches apart, as you can see. And here you can see where I put the header on the very top of the top plate. Again, because I don't know what window size I'm actually going to use. For the header, all I used was 2 2x6s flattened with a piece of 1/2 inch plywood in between them. Sorry guys, I really only have one day here and a little bit tomorrow morning, so I've been rushing. I haven't been filming everything, but obviously yesterday I stood that up. Then I ended up standing this one up. Pretty heavy for solo work. So yeah, I finished infilling the studs. I left the window headers up here pretty long and I put them up to the top because I don't know what they're gonna be. I'm gonna get recycled windows from one of our jobs we're working on. So this one I made a little smaller, this one I made a little bigger. So yeah, I pushed those up to the top. I nailed everything down, double nailed everything, added a couple lag bolts to the bottom plates of these walls because it's pretty windy, so I wanted to add some more wind shear on top of the sheathing. That's gonna add some wind shear as well. And then obviously I'm just gonna finish this wall now. And then basically the same numbers minus the window is gonna be the dimensions here. So you can see right there, across there, I got a template rafter up there. I cut a couple birds' mouths on the ends, and I'll show you that in a minute. Okay, so I got both of these walls up. I need to put a header here for the door. I'm gonna put a small header here for the window. Another header in the back for that window, but I'm leaving it right now because a lot of my 2x4s are used to brace the building. So I am going to start sheathing at least the border, the bottom of the border, so it keeps it all solid like in a box. And then I can move some of those braces, and once those first sheets are on, it'll also make the structure more solid for me to step up there and start putting the rafters on. So I already got the template made, so I just need to cut those rafters and throw them on. So that's the next step. So I use my chalk line to snap a straight line across here for the plywood to go to. I measured 4 feet off the bottom. I just made it flush with the bottom here. And I went ahead, when you're doing that, make sure you double check like these heights to your line. Make sure it's consistent all the way from top to bottom, so there's not weirdness going on there. Everything's all square and plumb with each other. You gotta nail these off really good in this area, especially in this area where it's super windy. So this is the nail pattern I use for those sheets of plywood. On the edges where they hit the, like the bottom plate or the corner framing, I'll make the spaces of the nails 3 to 4 inches apart. I use ring shanked 2 1/4 inch nails. And then in the center where the studs are, I just put those nails about 12 inches apart. When I say bird's mouth, this is what I'm referring to. That's gonna stand right on top of the top plate. It just kind of tucks right in there. All right, here I am cutting each individual roof rafter with those bird's mouths. I laid this out so the rafters sit right on top of the studs below. And it works out perfectly for the 8-foot sheathing that I'm gonna put on the roof as well. Trying to keep it basic. If you notice, the plywood around the house is OSB, 1/2 inch OSB. My roof sheathing is 5/8 plywood, and it gives it a little more strength and sheerness. Put the little rafter tails outlookers on the front just to give the roof a little bit of an overhang on the front. A little bit chilly this morning. Okay, so after dark, I did a bunch of stuff. I sheathed about half of the structure. I did the second layer. I also did these outlookers right here, these little rafter tails. And then I came back around this morning, nailed everything off. Like I said, I'm kind of in a hurry, so that's why I'm rushing, showing you guys the process, unfortunately. And now I'm just filling in the rest of the sheeting around the house in whatever scraps I have left over. Again, I don't know what the actual door is going to be. I'm going to use a recycled one, so I just overframed it. When you guys are sheathing these walls and roof, make sure you stagger the seams like this. Notice between the top and bottom sheets, the seams are staggered. They're not in line with each other. So you want to do that. You want to avoid doing it like this. Notice how the seams are going straight up and down. Do not do it this way. It makes the whole structure flimsier. And the last process of the sheathing is to get the roof all nailed off. After this, I added some rolls of ice and water shield membrane. I added some 2x4s on the side to keep the membrane from peeling off while I'm gone, because I know the area is going to be super windy and the chance of that stuff ripping off is very high. All right, so everything's waterproofed up top. Got the plywood completely on. Got a few temporary patches there for now. Just gonna close it up for the rest of the winter, and I'll be back here in the spring to finish. All right guys, thanks for watching. See you next time.